mock draft for the Chicago Bears with no draft trades. Bears have a lot of draft picks this year. In fact, they have 4 6-round picks, which doesn't sound great, but
hit the like and the subscribe. This is the Chicago NFL draft.
But London and I are ready to bring it to you.
Pick.
So, with that, London, you ready for our first mock draft?
Hit the like and the subscribe.
I'm very excited.
You feel me?
This is, I know I was talking to you last night, Nick.
Have more content coming
players
soon.
And talent is one of my hobbies. You know, a lot of people do like, you know, woodwork and stuff. I like prospecting players, so I'm super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get into it. The Bears have the first. They do have a first-round pick this year. It's been 2 years since the Bears had a first-round pick, and it is pick number 20. Since they were the lowest seeded
let's see who they're going to pick. Is they going to waste this pick, or are they going to get a good pick? There's pros and cons to how the Bears finished off last season, but they do have pick number 20 this year. London, who are you taking in the first round?
So I'm taking Kadarius Toney. He's a 5'11", 190-pound receiver from Florida. 2 reasons why I'm taking him with my first-round pick, just because I think it's the most important. First off, we need more weapons on offense. We're probably going to lose Anthony Miller, Javon Wims, some other guys, a little more depth receivers. Allen Robinson's coming back. Pairing him with 2 speedy receivers like Darnell Mooney and Kadarius, I think will be really, really dynamic. You can do a lot of different things with Matt Neck in the offense of moving Toney around, having Darnell Mooney be more of that pure receiver like he should be. And also, I have a bet with 2 of my friends, Drew and Gavin. If Kadarius Toney gets picked in the first round, they both owe me $20. So, not just for the money. I think he's a great pick. I think they're going to get him, but also winning $40 would be good too.
Great. I mean, I agree that later in my draft, I definitely have wide receivers because this is a wide receiver loaded draft, just like last year's. So I think that you're on the right track, especially. And just a disclaimer, London and I are very offensive heavy in the beginning, at least, for our draft picks. But overall, it is balanced. So great first-round pick by London. My first-round pick is going to be Christian Darrisaw. If he is available, he's a left tackle out of West Virginia. That is something that the Bears need. We have a big need for offensive tackle. As we know, the line has been upgrading. But I think that he would put us over the top to be a good offensive line. Great college offensive lineman.
Think, people?
He's big. He's fast. Danny Dalton needs all the protection that he needs, especially being an older, not very mobile quarterback. And also Bobby Massey leaving or being cut is a gap now in that tackle position. So that is my first-round pick. So London's going with a wide receiver. I'm going with a left tackle. Let's go to round number 2. The Bears have the 52nd overall pick in the second round. London, who are you taking? Are we going offense or defense?
Listen, I'm going offense again here. I know you're going defense here, and the reason why I'm going offense is because this pick makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go with Liam Enrichberg out of Notre Dame. I know I texted you and said, hey, you're going to love this pick. He's a 6'6", 300, 300-plus pound offensive tackle. And honestly, I think the Bears are starting to see right now take offensive linemen from Notre Dame.
That's
doesn't
right.
Doesn't matter if they're a big
keyword.
Who's
Chicago
an absolute dominant guard
always
for the Indianapolis Colts, or all the way to Sam Mustipher.
So let's keep that
anywhere in between. If you take
that in mind
right now, pretty much Wisconsin or Notre Dame, and honestly Notre Dame lately has been a lot more talented up and down. Take anybody off their line, doesn't matter. You are going to get an absolute
They've been getting guys from them for the last past,
so that's my second round pick.
15 years.
Honestly, this is a very low key, but this is a very lineman heavy draft as well. And I think that people don't realize that because a lot of the talk is, Trevor Lawrence, a lot of the talk is Zach Wilson, a couple different wide receivers and running backs from the SEC. I think that it is a big miss that, this is a very heavy tackle draft. And, Notre Dame, like you said, Sam Mustipher, Quentin Nelson, Alex Bars, 2 of those are on our team. Both had pretty decent seasons. Sam Mustipher had a great season. Alex Bars is a great depth guy. So, you can't go wrong with Notre Dame linemen. I totally agree with that pick if I hadn't already picked a tackle. But in the second round, I'm going with a defensive guy. I'm going with a handsaw, and we talked about this before, Nasser Ilden. He's a safety out of Florida State, and he is a big kid. 6'4", 220 as a safety. I mean, that is Richard Sherman status. That's a guy that can cover DK Metcalf.
Man.
And also, he's fast. And a lot of Bears fans don't realize this, but we still don't have we're missing a safety. We have not re-signed Gibson Sr. So if we don't re-sign him, I say that the Bears go in the second round and go get this safety out of Florida State. A lot of people don't need safety help right now. And that's why, if you go look at CBS's, draft prospect ranking, safety is not a big need for a lot of teams, but for the Bears to have that dominant defense, be able to take on wide receivers like Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson. Now Kenny Galladay is gone, but this overall, we do have a tough schedule, and every team seems to be getting bigger and bigger receivers. We need to guard that bigger and bigger DBs. So that's my second round pick. And also he's a big hitter. That's what I like.
Yeah, Nick, let me hit on that really quick with Hamsah. He's dominant. I mean, he came out of high school in North Carolina, and I actually read he played 4 positions on his high school team, like wide receiver, tight end, safety, corner, a little athlete. He was really highly recruited out of high school. He got to play next to Derwin James his freshman year, so he was a true freshman starting on that Florida State team. And if it wasn't for injuries in 2019, I think he would easily be the #1 safety on the draft.
And that's facts. Understand that. Facts.
Or to a very light safety, just big board in general in this draft. And also, I really like that pick, and the reason why is because as of today, the places that Bear Scouts have gone to is San Diego State, Florida State, TCU, Stanford, Clemson, North Dakota State, of course, the notorious meet with Seattle, Illinois, Northwestern, Arkansas State, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Maryland, SMU, Hawaii, Washington, Gambler State, Kansas State. So they went to Florida State. They definitely watched him. They definitely watched him.
And also, you got to consider that the Bears' new defensive coordinator, he's just like Vic Fangio. And what did Vic Fangio do very well? He used Prince Amukamara very well. He used Eddie Jackson very well. Amos very well. So, if you bring in a safety that they like, and you're saying that they were at Florida State Pro Day, I think that he's a good pick. But so that's our second round picks. We flipped the script. I'm going defense in the second round. London is sticking in the offensive side of the ball. So I think that any of these picks for the Bears so far is going to help be a big improvement to this team, especially in areas of need. So we're going into the third round now. Pick number 83. Now this round, I have a take. London also has a take. So London, I'm going to let you take it. Who are you taking in the third round?
So my third round pick is not going to be a huge surprise. It's going to kind of honestly mirror your second round. I'm going to go safety here. I think that we go with the Syracuse safety, Andre Cisco. He's 6'1", 200-pound safety. He's been a 4-year starter, or not a 4-year starter, a 3-year starter there. Very, very good. I would say probably behind TCU safety. It's kind of a toss-up once you get past him as the #1 safety. I'm thinking he slips a little bit just because in his pro day, he'll probably run closer to a 4.5, a 4.6. But putting him at strong safety, you don't need him to be blazing fast with Eddie Jackson back there. I think he's going to be slept on a little bit. I'm very excited here that we'll grab a safety. I think it's a big need. I don't think we sign Gibson back. But your pick, Nick, is going to be something that I know my friends at the Trenchcoat Mafia talked a lot about. We were a big fan of this guy. And honestly, you're going to make a lot of people at 670 The Score sad when you say this, because they said Andy Dalton, and then this would be the destruction of the Bears. So I'm excited.
And listen, I got to agree with this. So my pick is Kellen Mund's quarterback out of Texas A&M. I think it's a great late round pick. A lot of people, he's very slept on, and a lot of people are saying that. And I know that that's good. Like, people are saying this is going to be the destruction of the quarterback room for the Bears. How? I just got to ask, how? He's a rookie. He needs to earn his playing time. Andy Dalton's only here for a year. You sign a rookie in Kellen Mund's to learn. Hopefully.
Y'all hear that, right? Do y'all hear that? I mean, Bears in a position right now where it's possibly fixable within 2-3 years, but they gotta stay on it. They gotta stay at it, and it'll happen. They got the right people in place, and if that don't happen within a year or two, I mean, there's going to be a lot of replacements, not with players, but staff members go on and play.
If it works out with this offense, if Bill Lazor stays around, he learns this offense. This kid's got a cannon of an arm. He's super athletic. He's fast. I believe he broke a few different college records. I can't name them off the top of my head. But this is an area of need. And right now, Nick Foles is on the trading block. Thank God. Nick Foles, great guy. And that's the thing, is that the Bears get these great guys, Mitchell Trubisky,
and they can't do nothing with them.
You hate him on the field, you love him off the field. I wish the best for Nick Foles, but it just did not work out here in Chicago. Who else do we have? We're not going to have Bray, as our second string quarterback. We're not going to, it just wouldn't make sense. Go out, get Kellen Mond. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a good pick. Could be slept on. I mean, watch his game footage. He's an athlete. So, I went quarterback in the third round. London went safety. So far, I have a left tackle out of Virginia Tech. London corrected me. Virginia Tech. Excuse my mistake earlier. I said West Virginia. I have safety out of Florida State, and then I have quarterback out of Texas A&M. So, London, you're sitting at wide receiver, tackle, and then now you're sitting at at a safety. Mm-hmm. So the Bears do not have a fourth-round pick this year, but they are stacked in later rounds. We're going to have a different podcast later on about the Bears trading up, getting different picks. But right now we're going into the fifth round. Pick 164, close to Tom Brady's number, I believe. Getting up there.
Very close, very close.
Very close, very close. Speaking of that, London, who is your late-round gem that Ryan Pace is known for getting in the fourth and fifth round pick?
Yeah, Nick, we talked about this off air before we started. And Ryan Pace, again, no matter what anybody says about him, no matter if you love him, you hate him, you think he's a good GM or not, late round picks, pretty much 4 through 7, he easily, I would say, other than him and maybe Belichick, the most absolute money GMs at picking just star talent. Not good players, not just starters. I'm talking Eddie Jackson. I'm talking absolute studs.
Tyreek Cohen, these good
just
guys.
Studs. Players that start on your team, make good contracts. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Correction. Tyreek Cohen. And they're right, They do get a lot of superstar players. But the team seems to go a little bit nowhere. So let's see what we can get out of the Chicago Bears this year. Go ahead.
Of what he's been doing. And honestly, I look back at his draft picks at the New Orleans Saints when he was trying to rebuild. He did really well there, too. He's just a late round guy. He finds those gems. He builds his scouting room. So the player that I'm going to go with in the 5th round is going to be Jonathan Adams. He's a 6'3", 200-pound wide receiver out of Arkansas State. Not a lot of people are going to know about Jonathan Adams. Honestly, not a lot of people probably even saw Jonathan Adams. I only watched one game, and it was a bowl game, and he completely dominated. Took over the game. I'm pretty sure won Arkansas State their bowl win. If they didn't, it's because I only watched till halftime because it's Arkansas State. But he's an absolute X factor. He is ranked somewhere in the wide receivers, I would say low to middle. At 164, though, he's going to be a steal. I think he's ranked to go around 150-ish. So in the earlier 5th, late 4th. So if we get him here, he'll be a steal. He was an X factor on Arkansas State. And again, it's just what Ryan Pace loves to do. He finds those small school dudes, who don't can't route run the best or can't do whatever or injury prone, chucks them in there like Darnell Mooney and steals them away from the Minnesota Vikings, and just boom, they're all stars.
Listen, I get it. I think I like that you're going wide receiver. I'm going wide receiver in this round too, but that's what the big.
Y'all heard what he said, right? Same thing happened with me and my coach. Me starting and trying out for semi-pro football. I figured out they look for that star key talent. 2007, when I first tried out in semi-pro, I intentionally played nickel. I rolled into nickel playing man, all in the same token. And come to find out, that's what they were looking for. I was told to come back and read the playbook and stuff like this, what he's talking about. That's the type of stuff that intrigued me with football. You feel me? So now that when I play football, even on a video game, I dominate because I play in a style, in a form, in a way what suits me and affects the team in a good way. So as I did that, it may look like for a second, it may feel like for a second you flying around, throwing your body around damn near everywhere on the field, but you actually get into spots, key gaps, you know what I'm saying? Key moves, you feel me? Like when your tight end rolls out and your running back rolls out from the shotgun, you know what I'm saying? And you're a outside linebacker, who are you going to pursue or watch? Me playing nickel and rolling into man confused the hell out of offense. So, go ahead.
Bears need to, everyone was saying, bring as many quarterbacks in for the Bears, bring as many kickers in for the Bears. Let's have a competition. You can never have too many wide receivers because you can throw wide receivers on special teams. You can throw a wide receiver in a kick return, punt return. We might not have that again either. So let's go out and get these big, fast guys. Yeah. And also, I totally agree with going into my pick. I'm going Seth Williams out of Auburn, another X Factor guy. A lot of guys that people don't talk about. But when Russell Wilson is saying that he's interested in a guy in college, you should definitely keep your eyes open. Similar to DK Metcalf, 6'3", 211. Am I saying he's as ripped? Absolutely not. But he's a college athlete. He can go up. He's known for getting 50-50 balls. He's, another late-round stud. And the Bears, now we have Allen Robinson back. Great. 6'2.5", 6'3", cleats on. Big guy. But then you have Darnell Mooney, who is, 5'11". You have Tyreek Cohen, who's 5'6". You're getting rid of Wims, who is 6'2", 6'3". And then you're most likely getting rid of Anthony Miller, who is 5'11", 6 foot on a good day.
Y'all hear that?
The Bears need big targets for a guy like Andy Dalton because these experienced quarterbacks and how the NFL is working these days.
College scouts.
You toss something up,
hear
and
that.
you have a bigger guy. Whoever's bigger is going to go and get it. These guys have crazy verticals on both sides of the ball. It's just who's going to have that little bit bigger of a hand, who's going to have who's going to have more wingspan. Because these guys are all jumping 40-plus inches at this point. I mean, they're just freak athletes. So that's my first big wide receiver I'm going with. I really like him. Auburn, another great school. So I think he's also slept on in the draft. And when Russell Wilson is wanting him, that kind of says something to me.
Yeah, he's also, like you said, he's a great red zone target. A lot of people after the pro day with Anthony Schwartz, his wide receiver, who kind of played slot for them and kind of just whatever. He was a track star, ran like a sub 4.3, just absolutely blazed. We all expected him to be the fast guy. So he's going to get more of the attention than Seth Williams, even though Seth Williams is the more complete wide receiver out of Auburn, just in general. So yeah, getting him in the 5th round, that's a really.
Now, Matt Nagy, I hope you take heed to what he's saying, Matt Nagy. Ryan Pace. Someone figure out how to tag him into the comments so he can see this video. And hopefully he can get a chance to see it. But he's correct. 100% correct. Go on.
Really good pick.
I agree. I like this draft because obviously we made it. But if Ryan Pace can get even half of these guys, I'd sleep well at night.
I would too.
So moving into the first of 4 6th-round picks for the Chicago Bears. Ryan Pace is licking his chops right now, like.
Oh yeah.
And 2 of them are free from the NFL. And London and I said this before, but if you're going to give free picks, you might as well at least put them in the 4th. I would rather have 1 4th than 2 6. But, draft capital, Bears are likely to do that. We'll talk about that later. But this is a world that the Bears do absolutely nothing and keep all their picks. So, London, We both went wide receiver last round. What are we going with this round?
So I'm going to go secondary on this one. I think corners in this draft are kind of like wide receivers. They're pretty deep. Once you get past like Caleb, I would say Caleb Farley, Patrick Surtain, I would say a Horn out of Virginia. Once you get like those top three guys, the guy out of Northwestern really jumped. Newsome, the second, he really